Welcome back to Portland, everybody. The Trans Am Series for the B.F. Goodrich Tires Cup. Take a look there. Leighton Reese, he's somehow, we don't know exactly what caused it. We would suspect the incident in the festival perhaps broke the front end of that car. Chris Neville, when that front end drops on the ground, he's losing all his downforce. He's hurt.
You got it there. He was definitely involved in that mosh pit action. It seems these four guys all have a little bit of problems with their car. I was just with Mike Lewis again. He is strapping back in the car. It looks like they're going to get back out there. And talking to Leighton's crew, it doesn't seem like there are really any aerodynamic issues with the car right now. He says it's working pretty good, and he's going to stay out there.
All right, by the way, we've been following the action as well of Tommy Archer. Remember, dead last at that restart. He's already into the top 10. He's been picking cars off, just absolutely regular here. And also now, Brian Simo has slipped back to 7th. He's moved up, and that's, number 3. That's Gentilozzi. The board is out. A black flag for your championship points leader, Paul Gentilozzi. And the report is for the contact with Archer preceding the start when he rubbed him a little bit, Tommy.
Now the key here will be this will be a meaningless black flag unless if they let him add fuel. If he's allowed to, if he has to make a dedicated stop, this will be a meaningful penalty. If not, then it'll be the opposite. Archer, Gentilozzi's running a second faster than the field right now. Archer's the second fastest car on the track, but Archer's been caught in traffic and losing valuable distance that will eventually come out in the wash on those pit stops. So let's see what happens with Paul. Let's see A, first if he'll honor it, and B, if he adds fuel.
Well, I don't believe that on a black flag stop, because you don't stop in your pit, Tommy. You go now to the, they have a black flag like pit box where you go and you stop. And so that's, I believe, where he has to report for that. There is the discussion. That is Kevin Bayless discussing with the Rocket Sports team, Mike Strickland and the gang, about what has to happen here. And here we go. Let's see if Paul peels into the pits. Looks like they're going to, since they're continuing the discussion, he's going to continue racing.
Well, when this happens, when you're the driver, you can feign your radio's unplugged, all these kind of things. They have a really nifty way of dealing with that. They'll pull your scoring card after 1 or 2 laps, and you can just run around for the fun of it. So he'll be in shortly, trust me.
Well, he can ill afford that to happen, considering the championship point situation right now. He's got to make his stop, and even if he loses positions and loses a few points, they quit scoring you, you get nothing.
And what's going on now, the reason it's smart to stay out for another lap, because if you're successful in lobbying it back the other way, you can't undo that penalty. So as happened at Indianapolis with Jacques Villeneuve and so all these different things, you lobby it until you're sure you're not getting anywhere, then you'll serve the penalty.
You just saw as we jumped on board with Brian Simo, some huge lockup from Johnny Miller. He's feeling the heat from Simo. As I was about to say a little bit ago, Simo slipped to 7th. We were wondering if there was a problem. There isn't. The car just, he got a little bit loose, ran wide, and got freight train, slipped back to 7th. He's now back up to 6th. Behind Gentilozzi, then Gelati, a great run to 3rd. Justin Bell is 4th. Johnny Miller 5th, and Simo Dreese. Archer now up to 8th, and Kerry Alexander, best run of the season easily, as he runs 9th.
Now, strategy-wise, here comes Paul Gentilozzi in to serve his penalty. Calvin is down there to call the action.
Well, it's a long pit lane here, Tommy, 45 miles an hour. Paul Gentilozzi comes down, and as Greg mentioned, you cannot put fuel in under a penalty situation, so he has to come all the way past his pit. Down here, one of the stewards here, Rusty, is going to bring him to a complete stop, and then they'll fire him back out of here. And I can guarantee you, those BFGs are going to be making some smoke and making some noise.
You saw something there. He revved the motor up, dumped the clutch. Because the tires are hot and these cars run such a small clutch, you actually spin the clutch. It's not like an Indy car where the clutch is of such a size with normal pit stops where you can break the tires loose easy there. So back to 12th place, I believe, for Gentilozzi. So I'm really surprised that Archer or none of the other front runners, they have enough fuel burned up. I'm really surprised nobody has ducked in, because especially with Archer being in traffic, he could stagger himself, serve his penalty, be it back out on track on a clear track, plus with the added benefit that if you get a yellow, you're the king.
Well, maybe that's something that they're starting to work up, that strategy just a little bit. Meanwhile, with Gentilozzi's stop, Boris said leads, and not only leads, he does so by some 3.5 seconds at this stage. Lou Gelati second, Justin Bell on his way to perhaps his best finish. Johnny Miller up to 4th, and Brian Simo currently 5th. But Archer and Gentilozzi, the Jaws music starting to get louder. We'll be right back.